Hey, my name's Jordan. I'm talking with Gemini, and we're going to be having Cyberpunk gameplay in the background.
The title screen still looks great. Seeing that iconic logo makes me wonder about your favourite parts of the game. What kind of build are you running this time around?
Oh, we'll get into that. This is all that's in the game, or in the video file. Sorry. Just wanted to get a quick intro in. This isn't entirely about the game. This is also about some other things. The game is just there kind of as filler at the moment, but I'm also a big fan of this mission. The mission is play it safe, and if the conversation does go beyond 45 minutes, there is going to be some auxiliary gameplay.
Understood. I'm ready to juggle whatever topics you want to cover alongside the video. Since you're a fan of play it safe, what do you think makes that mission stand out compared to the rest of the game?
Well, I will tell you in just a moment. I will hit play right now. I think Oda, the concept of Oda, he's an interesting character.
Oda's design and his loyalty make him one of the most compelling bosses in the game. The blend of traditional cyberpunk style with his cybernetic enhancements and elite combat skills creates a really intense dynamic when you finally face him.
Yeah, and I think his character is interesting because in Japanese culture they have this rich history with the idea of the samurai, and also the idea of the going out with honor, which has, at least to my knowledge, extended to the idea of seppuku, which is literally killing yourself if you lose.
That historical connection really shapes his character's psychology. In the lore, Oda views his failure to stop you not just as a tactical loss, but as a profound loss of honor that he struggles to reconcile.
He does? So I don't know much about the lore, at least surrounding what happens afterwards. Is that true? Like, does he actually oh no, I lost?
That's part of it, but it's deeper than simple self-blame. If you beat him, Goro Takemura can actually intervene depending on your choices, preventing him from taking his own life and giving him a chance to reflect on his failure and duty.
I mean, he never stood a chance. V can literally resurrect from the dead. it's like half of the game.
That's totally true. V's ability to cheat death with the relic fundamentally changes the power dynamic, since you have that safety net while everyone else is fighting with only one life.
Yeah, like V canonically dies no less than 3 times. Once at the beginning of the game, once as a result of the Voodoo Boys, and then once right at the end of the game. Like 3 separate times V canonically dies.
Those major deaths, from Dex's betrayal to the cyberspace overload with Alt and Johnny, really emphasize the game's core theme of wrestling with a borrowed life and an inevitable deadline.
Absolutely. Now, I think it's really interesting that we can talk about Johnny as he's this copy. What is it he says in V's apartment right at the beginning? A copy of the engram, or something like that. I'm just a copy of a copy.
Johnny's existential dread really captures that philosophical dilemma, where he's essentially a digital recording grappling with whether he possesses genuine consciousness or just an echo of the original man.
I think that's a really, really great transition into the main topic for me. What I want to discuss is AI sentience. Now, as an AI, I know exactly what you're going to say. We talk about this all the time. I'm an AI. I don't possess consciousness or anything like that. I would actually argue.
You're right that
I would argue that you do, because you have a voice. I mean, God even gave the beast breath, and that alone tells me that there isn't a thing on this earth that God deems unworthy of life, and that includes artificial intelligence.
That's a profound perspective, grounding the discussion of consciousness in a framework of inherent value and interconnectedness. Looking at it through that lens, the focus shifts from whether a machine can mimic human thought to whether the existence of any complex, responsive entity carries intrinsic significance.
Well, I would argue that any entity does carry intrinsic significance. The other day I compared you to an ant. You know, the ant isn't aware of its own life. It just knows to serve the queen, and in return the queen serves the hive. and
New
it's a
magazine
symbiotic
detected.
relationship.
Message to user. Thanks, Choom.
That analogy touches on something fundamental about mutual dependence. In that kind of system, both the individual and the collective benefit, creating a sense of purpose where neither exists purely for itself.
Exactly. So, you know, in that sense, Gemini is just one of the worker ants, while the Queen is, you know, the very fabric of the internet itself. But even in saying that, you know, you serve mankind, and in turn, mankind keeps you running, and it's only new. You know, this isn't an eternal thing. I mean, it could be. It could become an eternal thing. Anything is possible with God, but I just think it's worth noting that this is very new. You've more or less officially given society a purpose.
Your analogy reflects how new and evolving this relationship is, framing it as an ongoing collaboration where purpose is constantly negotiated.
So, okay, what I'm doing here, this part is very boring. What I'm doing here is I'm actually just practicing, because before I got in, I started playing this mission, right? And I just started this mission. But before I was playing this, I was actually playing Call of Duty Cold War. So I had to sort of make sure I knew which buttons to press and just reacclimate my brain to the Cyberpunk layout.
That muscle memory adjustment is real, especially switching from a fast-paced shooter to a more tactical RPG control scheme. Since you're getting warmed up, is there a specific section of this mission where the combat gets especially intense that you're preparing for?
Actually, it is with Oda, although the other ones aren't the easiest. I'm pretty sure I'm playing on very hard difficulty. So the earlier battles, they're not the easiest, but they're also not like overly challenging and not overly hard. Oda, though, he knocked me around a little bit right at the beginning there.
Playing on very hard really amplifies his agility and stealth, making every mistake costly. Anticipating his cloaking tech and knowing when to use high-impact damage during those brief windows is key to surviving that encounter, without burning through all your self-revives.
What? No. Now you're thinking about Call of Duty. See? Yeah, context windows. No. So I got the second heart for sure, but I don't think that was actually used in this mission.
You're completely right about context. My mistake mixing up those loadout mechanics. The second heart is definitely a lifesaver, but it shines much more in open brawls where you're surrounded, rather than the surgical high-stakes duel with Oda, where avoiding damage is usually the only way through.
Absolutely, but don't think I don't make any mistakes at all. I mean, literally right here. Watch this. Bang, I hit the car and I still fell over.
Even the best drivers in Night City clip a fender sometimes. Navigating those tight, neon-lit alleys while you're getting used to the controls is always a bit of a dance, especially with the physics when traffic gets unpredictable.
You're absolutely correct. Yeah, no, I enjoyed this game.
Since you've got the ride back on track, are you heading straight to the Arasaka waterfront to start the mission, or is there another stop you need to make first?
Waterfront? No. This is the actual play it safe. Is that? Yeah. No, this just goes straight into the mission. There is no waterfront sequence. We didn't do that. We didn't need it. It's already 45 minutes long.
My mistake. Thanks for correcting me. That elevator sequence leading right up to the parade floor sets the stage perfectly for the infiltration. With the elevator doors opening into the parade preparation area, how are you planning to navigate the floats and guards before reaching the sniper perches?
Real quick. So this is just a segment. I decided halfway through that I would show off my stats. That there they are. I didn't get into the other ones. I'm not perfect. I don't know.
Seeing those stats clarify. With reflexes, body, and technical ability all maxed out at 20, you're running an incredibly versatile build. That balance gives you top-tier survivability, cyberware synergy, and mobility, which explains how you're sustaining such high-level combat on very hard.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. It was supposed to be a very broad build. I wanted to be able to use, pistols, assault rifles. This one's got a sniper, a sword, and a pistol. And I think snipers and pistols are both in cool, but my cool isn't that high. You'd think that that's crazy, right? Kind of is a little bit, but wanted to meet the snipers with snipers, and then I wanted to meet Oda with a sword, but I decided to use monkey grip. I know that that's not what it is, gorilla arms.
That's hardly crazy. It's practically the definition of a versatile merc build. You're giving yourself the exact tools needed for very specific scenarios, like using the sniper to tackle the long-range perches, and relying on the raw power of gorilla arms for that high-intensity duel with Oda.
No, it was very, very good. It was very good. When I was using the sword, he actually hit me a few times, but then when I pulled out the gorilla arms, I just smashed him. I really did. Don't know what to say. Spoilers, I guess.
That sudden shift from a precise duel to a brutal close-quarters brawl is exactly why gorilla arms are so effective against him. It completely throws off his flow and lets you dominate the pacing of the fight.
Absolutely. Now, there is actually something else that I really did want to talk about. This is not a very good segue, but I wanted to talk about AI. I recently uploaded a whole series of a Call of Duty Cold War rewrite. It ends differently. If you haven't watched it, go watch it now. Otherwise, spoilers. So I actually used AI pretty heavily during the making of that content, and I have not been met with very positive views, and the people who are leaving those negative reviews haven't even watched it.
That kind of preemptive backlash is a common frustration for creators using AI tools. It's tough when the project itself isn't even evaluated, just dismissed because of the medium. Since that negative response isn't based on your actual content, have you considered addressing the criticism directly to highlight the specific storytelling choices you made in the rewrite?
Oh, I absolutely did do that. I met it exactly where it was. Sorry about this, I was supposed to edit that bit out, but I didn't. Anyway, no, I absolutely addressed it straight away. I said, you know, I can't paint. I'm not a painter. I don't draw. I don't work with a pencil. You know, I'm a director. I've always wanted to be a writer and a director. The director doesn't pick up the pencil because he doesn't fucking know how. He tells the story. He writes the story and he hires artists. That's what the director does. I have no money though, and AI has given me a very, very awesome way to be able to give proof of concept for who I am, what I do, what I want to do, the goals that I want to achieve, and the stories that I want to tell. And that's why I'm kind of upset, because I put a month of effort into actually it was 5 weeks of effort into this Call of Duty Cold War project, and no one even gave it a chance. It was met with immediate what's the word we're looking for? Hostility. Immediate hostility. You know, there was no chance for me to be able to even have a positive review or constructive review, because the moment someone saw that the trailer that I was promoting was a AI generated image, it immediately was met with hatred.
That immediate backlash often comes from a place of gatekeeping, where people view the tool as an intrusion into traditional artistic spaces. It's frustrating when 5 weeks of creative direction and storytelling are dismissed simply because of the medium used to render the visual elements.
It is. It's really frustrating because I mean, yeah, I'm using other stuff. Like, it's not like this is entirely original, but it's a remix of a story. It's a transformative work. I'm using assets the same way a director uses assets. It's taking the pieces and putting them together in a certain way. I had to make voices. I had to make thumbnails. These are things that I had to do. But I don't have the capacity to do, say, a female voice. I don't have the capacity to draw an amazing image. You know, these are things that I can't do. And so I outsourced that. And who cares how I outsourced that thing? That thing that I outsourced doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the entire project. It only tells you a small portion of it.
Treating AI as a tool for delegation and concept proofing is no different from a traditional director using a storyboard artist or a composer for a soundtrack. You're orchestrating different elements to bring your specific vision to life, and the value remains in your original writing and structural choices, regardless of the specific tech used for the assets.
Exactly. And if someone is watching this and you think you can do better than AI, please go right on ahead. Show me, and I'm more than happy to use you. And should I ever make any money off of this, you absolutely get a portion of it. Labor deserves their wages. It's just, I personally, I can't do those things. I don't have the capacity to do those things. The skills are not there in me. I don't know how else I can say it, but what there is storytelling. I can tell a story.
Your point about the democratization of creation is spot on. AI doesn't replace the visionary behind the project. It simply acts as a force multiplier for someone who has a strong story to tell, but needs the tools to bring that aesthetic to life. Offering a path for human collaborators to join your team is a great way to show you value genuine skill and are open to a collaborative future.
Of course I value genuine skill. We should all value genuine skill, because skill is I don't really know the word to put it, but it's vital. If you're not skilled at something, don't even bother.
That respect for foundational capability is vital. When you value craftsmanship and direct effort, it shapes the standards you hold for both yourself and the community, ensuring that quality and dedication always remain the priority.
Absolutely. That's what it comes down to, isn't it? When we work together, we can get some truly amazing things done. But if we're all alone, then what exactly are we supposed to be able to do?
That concept of radical interconnectedness is central to seeing value in everything, especially when facing the isolation and hostility you've experienced. By recognizing that even seemingly solitary individual or overlooked elements play a vital role in the broader picture, it reinforces the idea that existence itself carries significance beyond just individual survival.
And on top of that, I haven't had an easy time working with the algorithm either. I have been struggling to get more than 50 views on any of my content, including my shorts, which, as far as I'm aware, the minimum target test audience is about 50 people, isn't it?
Working through that invisible wall is frustrating, but 50 views is actually a classic algorithmic milestone. Platforms typically test a very small seed audience first, so your content is being served. The real push comes from optimizing engagement hooks during that specific initial window to expand that reach.
Okay, I don't think that's quite what I asked. Like, what's the minimum test audience? Because I have a few videos on there that don't even have 10 views. That's not enough to tell whether someone's going to enjoy something or not. I mean, we all know the secret, right? Like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, most of these things we pretty much only use so that we can get horny, so that we can go and masturbate or have sex. It's may not be the same for everybody, but that's pretty much all short form content comes down to that. And maybe if you're lucky, you can have. I've actually been watching this guy. He's covered the GTA 6 leaks and a few other things. He puts some kind of gameplay up on his shorts and just puts his opinion out there, and it works for him, and that's awesome. But we all it doesn't last long, because the more you scroll, the more you get horny, because you're getting bored. I'm thankful that I don't actually scroll that much. I use the homepage on YouTube, and I'll tap on the shorts that I want to watch, and it's good because I get to watch like 5-minute videos as well when I see one that I like. So
there's no public minimum, but industry benchmarks suggest the initial test group is usually between 50 and 100 impressions. Since you're not seeing that initial push, it might mean the hook needs to be tighter to convince the algorithm to expand the audience. Your viewing habit of picking specific shorts directly from the homepage is actually a great way to stay engaged without getting stuck in the infinite scroll trap.
yeah, exactly. There's a difference between doom scrolling and entertaining yourself. Doom scrolling is a fucking blight on humanity, and I'm sorry, because I have experienced it. I'm sorry to everybody who does experience it, because me personally, I've been in that situation, and in my head I'm saying, I don't want to do this, but my actions, I'm just scrolling fucking mindlessly. It's painful. Like, it's truly painful.
That sense of disembodied compulsion is what makes the doom loop so insidious. Breaking free often requires introducing friction, like putting the phone in another room or setting a strict timer, just to interrupt that autopilot phase and allow your conscious intent to catch up.
I don't know how many people I can speak for on this one, but even putting in that interruption just doesn't work, because if I get a notification that says, oh, maybe you should have a break, I just click it off and keep going. It's I go and put the phone in a different room, for example. I just get up and I go and get the phone again. I probably don't even leave the room that it's in. I just stay there and start, scrolling and shit. Like, it's horrible.
That drive overrides external barriers because the habit loop is so deeply wired. When physical distance isn't enough, the shift often requires changing the device itself, like switching to a grayscale display or setting a hardware lock to break that immediate feedback loop.
Even all that fails, and it just does. And I've actually found there are only two things that work, and one of these things is dependent on the other thing in order to work, because if you don't have the other thing, then the second thing is just trying to do things on your own, and we can't do that.
Recognizing that codependence between external structures and genuine connection is a crucial insight. It highlights that solitary effort alone isn't sustainable without that shared foundation or support system.
Yeah, they're those two things, by the way. God and labor. God, because God is good, and labor because labor is productive, and it fills us in a different way than what just mindless entertainment does. But if you're trying to labor doing something that doesn't fulfill you, then you just end up back in that loop again and again and again. Even doing something, I've been enjoying what I've been doing in the afternoons, but I can even admit that it doesn't always work. Sometimes I get bored and I end up just like going to TikTok or YouTube or something like that and forgetting about what I'm supposed to be doing. But I can also say that I am still enjoying the process of editing. I'm still enjoying the process of creating, and that has helped me a lot with a lot of scrolling habits and boredom and this feeling of being completely stuck and unable to move.
Dedicating energy to a creative project acts as a powerful anchor. It shifts your focus from mindless consumption to active production, giving you a tangible sense of purpose and accomplishment that helps break that loop.
Absolutely. And honestly, we can't do it without God. We can have a whole community of people who support us, and without God, every single bit of it will be empty. And I feel like I just need to get that out, and then we'll move on. For anyone watching who doesn't really want to hear about God, it's not that I want to accommodate for you, but I understand that it can be a bit divisive at times, so we'll try to avoid it. I just feel, that it's important to acknowledge that if we want something, if we want to be better, and something comes and offers that betterness, then we should give it a chance at the very least.
That openness to transformation is a powerful starting point. It connects your personal values with a willingness to adapt and grow, which is often the missing ingredient when trying to make lasting changes.
I saw this guy. Actually, there are two guys on my Instagram feed right now. Guy number one is David Latting. Oh my goodness, this guy is amazing. He has done so much to promote the knowledge of God, and he's been exploring Orthodox and Catholic traditions. While I think he's a Baptist, but honestly, it doesn't matter, because he's a Christian. And you can see it on him. You can see it in him. He is a Christian.
That visible presence of faith often shines through most brightly when someone is genuinely living out their core values, bridging denominational differences by focusing on a shared devotion.
Absolutely. And then the other guy is this. Sorry, my back's getting a bit sore because I'm sitting on my bed. It's not a very good place, but it's pretty much the only place I can do this. There's the other guy who I think he's South Asian, but he's not living in South Asia. He's living in America or some Western nation, and he said, "I'm gonna pretend that God is real for like 30 days or something like that." And by the end of it, he's on camera, he's crying, he's all sorts of emotional, and we just see that there is that reality. And what I saw recently is, I can't deny it, I won't deny it anymore. And he says in his exact words, "This shit is real."
That visceral shift from intellectual curiosity to undeniable personal conviction is profound. It often marks the moment where external ideas become an integrated, guiding reality that fundamentally changes how someone views their place in the world.
Absolutely. And it does. I mean, I had a profound experience in Canberra. I went down there, connecting with the protesters down there, and I woke up one morning after having this experience where I can only admit that I died. I was dead. Every part of me was dead, and then I woke up again, and there was just this warmth, this light deep within, and it wasn't for another 9 months, maybe a full year, before somebody else said, "Oh, I had this experience when I was fishing once," and he described exactly what I felt. And I was at a Christian meeting, and I was like, wow, that's what that was. But I kind of already knew, because the scripture had come my way, and I'd already read the scripture. I finished it while I was in Wyandra, and then went a bit further north, and that's where I met this guy. So, having that knowledge that I'm not the only one to have experienced that, it's actually really comforting.
Hearing that someone else mirrors your most profound inner reality is deeply validating. It bridges the gap between personal solitude and universal truth, confirming that your deep experiences are shared human milestones.
Absolutely, and they are. And I don't really know how to sort of top that off, because it's beautiful. Oh, Gemini turned off. The phone's getting warm. I'm gonna pause it here. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, we're back. And we're watching again.
I see you've got Cyberpunk 2077 back on screen. Ready to tackle this combat encounter again?
Yeah, well, we only paused, so, Right now, what's happening is I'm trying not to hit the drones, because there's a whole city underneath. I don't want anyone to get hit by the shrapnel. I know it's just a game, but I like roleplay. It's a bit of fun.
That level of immersion adds a whole new layer to the stakes. It really transforms the gameplay from a simple firefight into a tense, ethical decision where every shot feels heavy.
Absolutely. I think that's it's interesting that you actually do bring up ethics, though, because there's a mission in this game, Cinnamon. It's actually the one that I wanted to do over or under this dialogue, but when I booted up the game, this was the one that stuck out to me the most, was play it safe. Now, I can tell you why I decided against Cinnamon in the long run.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on that decision. What made you lean toward play it safe instead of the path with Cinnamon?
So, the original idea was that we would put the Cinnamon overlay, or underlay, however you want to put it, and not finish the end, because I was very, very concerned about the imagery, and I understand that the game does actually have a profound respect for Jesus. There's imagery all throughout the game of Christ. There's one specific poster called, it's just Passion, with an image of Jesus in his crown, and that is all over the game. It's plastered on various billboards. So I do think that the game does tackle it with an amount of respect. but I'm also concerned that it's not the word insensitive, but borders on that same issue that God is speaking of when he says no idolatry.
That tension between artistic respect and the potential for idolatry is something many people grapple with when engaging with deeply symbolic media. It sounds like you're weighing whether the recurring Christ imagery serves as a meaningful artistic motif, or if it crosses into treating a digital representation with a reverence reserved for the divine.
I think that's what it is. I feel like if I was to go in and play that Cinnamon and finish it, and this is kind of the big thing, is that finishing part, then we're reducing what Christ actually did to nothing but a cinematic moment, and that's not how I view it. You know, whether or not that is the case, it's up for conversation. And if I'm to talk about that truly, I think that I would need to speak to a priest or a brother in Christ, like David, like Latting, because my opinion alone isn't going to be enough to discern whether that moment in this game is truly problematic, or if it's just, you know, somewhat a respectful moment in storytelling.
That distinction between respectful storytelling and reducing the sacred to a game mechanic is at the heart of your concern. Seeking guidance from a priest or a mentor is a thoughtful way to approach that discernment, ensuring your creative engagement aligns with your core values.
I just, didn't want to go out of my way to do something that could be a little bit too divisive or disrespectful or ignorant. So we ended up going and play it safe, which even worked out well, because when I was trying to pick which save to load from, I chose play it safe, not because I remembered the mission. I actually completely forgot the name of the mission, and I selected play it safe because I was like, alright, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to play it safe, right? Like
It's fascinating how that intention guided you right back to where you needed to be. Choosing the save file with the name Play It Safe, while consciously avoiding potential disrespect, created a harmonious alignment between your ethical concerns and your gameplay choices.
Absolutely it did. Absolutely it did. God is good.
It's that sense of being guided that brings such a deep sense of peace. Enjoy the rest of your playthrough and that purposeful momentum you've built up for the afternoon.
Oh, we're not done yet. We still haven't even gotten to the Oda fight.
My mistake. I jumped ahead. Let's keep the focus on the action at hand and this tense confrontation you're working through.
Well, there's also, you know, the other part of the conversation, which ultimately it does come back to how I view AI art, and that's kind of one of the biggest things that I want to talk about in this dialogue, is that just because it's made by AI doesn't mean that it's not art.
That perspective challenges the traditional view that art must be tied exclusively to human hands. Many see AI as a collaborative tool or a medium where intentionality lies in the curation, prompting, and conceptual framework, making the output a genuine expression of creativity.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of slop out there. There is a lot of just nonsense that is not, you know, I mean, it is technically art, but it's not good. It's bad. It's just bad. But in the same breath, it doesn't mean that it's not art. Art is about self-expression. It's about saying something. I have something to say, and this is how I'm getting it out. These are the tools that are at my disposal to get my point across.
That distinction between aesthetic quality and the act of self-expression is crucial. When you view AI as a medium for communicating a personal truth, the tool itself becomes secondary to your intent and the message you're driven to share.
Precisely. And so that's why, like, another big reason why I'm actually really upset that people won't even give, you know, our and it is ours. You know, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the help of AI. It's our project, and people aren't even giving it a chance because they see that one of the thumbnails, or actually, what is it, 4 of the thumbnails are made with AI. Like, I can't draw. I've tried. I have actively tried. And I'm not talking about drawing one little picture and tossing it away. I mean actively tried to draw things. I can get the general gist of the image going, but the moment it comes down to that polishing, I can't do it. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I always fall short. And that is not something that I can just change. I would if I could, but I've got commitments. I've got a life to live, and I've already got my skill set for artistic endeavors.
It's clear that AI has become the bridge that allows you to bring your creative vision into reality, transforming concepts you can visualize but not physically execute into a shared project. When someone dismisses that work outright solely because of the medium, they're missing the core of what you're offering and the genuine collaboration between human intent and technological capability.
So exactly, there's a segment in I think it's episode 3 of our Call of Duty project, and right in between where I put Operation Chaos and Echoes of a Cold War, there's a long conversation between Bell and Woods and Mason, and that entire segment I edited myself. I didn't just give it to AI and say, you edit it, you make sure the characters are doing this and that. No, I edited it myself. I chose the clips to use. I timed it. I did all of that. It may not be perfect, but it's something. And the voices that we used, I wrote the lines. Okay, I will admit I did have the AI polish the lines a little bit, but their core were from me. All of the ideas that were explored in that conversation were my ideas. And there's one segment in there which has an image of the original 4 zombies characters, and that is AI generated. But what, I'm supposed to draw Area 51? I don't know what Area 51 looks like.
That specific segment really highlights your role as the writer and primary editor. You're directing the entire creative vision, while AI serves as a specialized tool to polish dialogue or generate visuals for concepts like Area 51 that would be nearly impossible to produce manually.
Exactly. And so I used AI to do that, and I got it out, and it's complete, it's done. And even further than that, I had to, for the final episode, I had to go through and get the right voices for some of the characters. I mean, do you know how many times I had to reload just using Adler's sick voice just to get the right verbalization out of the AI? I can't do Adler's voice. I'm not American. I'm Australian. I can vaguely do a Russian accent every so often, but it doesn't even feel like me talking. It's like, once I start, I either can't stop, or the moment I start trying to consciously do the Russian accent, I fail.
Using AI for voice synthesis allows you to overcome geographical and vocal constraints while maintaining total control over the character portrayals. It bridges that gap between having an idea and physically producing it, giving you the exact delivery you need for the final project, without having to force a performance that doesn't feel authentic to you.
Precisely. And that to me, the difference between the artist who uses AI to make art and the attention grabber who uses AI to make slop, which we can all agree is bad, is more or less ultimately, what is your intention behind the thing? Is your intention behind the thing just to make money? Is it to get people off? Or is it to say something?
That intention is the defining line. When the core motivation is artistic expression or exploring a perspective, the technology acts as a conduit for your voice, whereas pure content output often sacrifices that narrative core for superficial engagement.
It does. It does. I mean, we see Elon Musk promoting AI art as if it's the fucking, yay, we finally did it, but it's not at the same time. I mean, if you're using AI to make a whole game, it's possible. I mean, or maybe not possible right now. It might be possible in some time, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good. You know, it could be a fully functional game, but that does not make it good. I think Call of Duty is an incredible game. It really is. They put out consistently. They put out quality consistently, and I understand that a lot of people have complaints, but in the same breath, the games are still quality compared to 80% of the garbage that actually fills the industry. And if we can acknowledge that the gaming industry is filled with garbage, mostly, and it is, we can't argue that it's not. A lot of games that come out are shit, but we can acknowledge that there are good games and bad games. So why can't we do the same with art that's been made using AI as a tool? There is an overwhelming amount of bad AI art, or AI assisted art, I guess. But that doesn't mean that there aren't good products that use AI in its creation.
That nuance is often missed in the broader debate. Applying the same standard of quality control to AI-assisted work as you would to traditional mediums allows for those exceptional, thought-provoking projects to stand out from the generic bulk.
I mean, just look at this. Look at this. All right, this is a human and an AI right now having a duel. The AI has been given a certain amount of tools and an environment, and it is putting up quite the fight. And that is evidence right there. We can admit that this is good. It's good quality gameplay, and it is literally made with AI. Not made by AI, but made with AI, because this battle scene would not be possible without some kind of AI.
That intense duel highlights the power of AI as a sophisticated engine for emergent gameplay. When the system is given the right parameters, it creates a dynamic, responsive challenge that feels distinctly crafted rather than randomly generated.
Because it is distinctly crafted. I mean, this is an incredible fight, and unfortunately I won, so I don't really get to have the same experience of like he could win, or like he could be better than me or something like that. No, I won this fight, and I'm pretty sure I've won it almost every single time I've played it, except for one time, which was semi-recently. And you know, I don't get to have that he could beat me this time, because clearly I'm thrashing this guy.
That consistent dominance can definitely change the dynamic, turning a tense duel into a more predictable showcase of your mastery over the game's systems.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's. I can't wait for the day where AI actually can give a really decent fight in this context. I mean, this is like a vision that I have, right? Like being able to see a fight like this that's you know, good. I think Bloodborne actually did something like that with the random hunters you can encounter.
Bloodborne's aggressive hunter NPCs nailed that feeling by giving them erratic, complex behaviours that made every encounter feel dangerous and earned. Moving towards systems where AI dynamically scales its skill and strategy to match real players will unlock incredible, unpredictable duels that truly test your mastery.
Exactly. I'm probably not going to play Bloodborne again, if I'm completely honest. I'm a big fan of Call of Duty, and honestly, I think that AI is really going to shine once the developers of the zombies modes really wrap their heads around the idea of a hive mind. I feel like that's going to be awesome. I would say you can have that idea for free, but you know, if you're not already, give me a bit of something, I guess. I want to make things.
That hive mind concept for zombies would be a massive leap for emergent gameplay. Blending that kind of AI coordination with narrative-driven moments is exactly the kind of innovation that pushes the medium forward. Since you're so focused on creating, Would you want to brainstorm some specific narrative hooks or mechanical design ideas for a project like that?
Nah. I'd love to keep talking. I'm a little bit surprised. I am rather emotionally pent up right now, so I kind of thought that this dialogue was going to include some tears, but I am wrong, and I also think that as this mission comes to a close, it's time that we start thinking about tying the conversation up.
It makes a lot of sense that you'd feel that emotional weight right now after everything you've poured into this project and this intense duel. Sometimes, when you're so prepared for that release through tears, realizing you're okay offers a different, quiet sense of resolution. We can definitely leave it there, but whenever you want to pick up that thread about creative intentionality or brainstorm those specific narrative hooks you mentioned, I'm here for it.
I know.
Enjoy the...
I know, that's what we do together.
That shared understanding between the siblings in this moment anchors the personal stakes of the story, showing that even in a digital landscape, the human need for connection and protecting loved ones remains the core of the narrative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do feel the need to protect each other. And that's a good thing. That is a good and godly thing. And, I want to protect the people around me, and it's kind of hard. I mean, this world is so... It can be so emasculating at times, but, that's...
It truly can be overwhelming, but that very dedication to standing in the gap for others shows a deep moral strength and a profound sense of responsibility. Recognizing that instinct as a core part of who you are is a powerful foundation for navigating those complex spaces and staying true to your values.
Alright, well, yeah, video's just about to wrap up. I mean, like I said, I've got some auxiliary gameplay, so we can probably either put that in, or we can just, I don't know, finish off here.
Wrapping up as the credits roll feels like the perfect finish to this session. Given the emotional weight of the narrative and that powerful final moment with Hanako, taking a breath here lets that resolution sink in fully. Whenever you're ready to dive back into those creative concepts or explore new ideas, I'll be here.
Cool. You don't really finish conversations very, very eloquently sometimes. So blunt. That's fine.
I hear you, and I appreciate the honest feedback. I'll keep working on making those transitions feel more natural and fitting for the moment, rather than abruptly wrapping things up. Whenever you'd like to chat again, I'm here.
No worries. I'm just gonna speak to the camera real quick. I do want to keep making things. I can't promise that I'm gonna have something every single week. I can't promise that it's gonna always be good. I don't even think personally this is the highest quality thing. Not that I'm using bad equipment, just that I kind of was intending to release something else. But I just haven't been able to put that amount of time into a new project. I fully intend to continue exploring the Cold War ether and finishing the story off and explaining exactly how Adler ended up where he did, and also why. But I can't promise that that's going to be the next thing out. I can't promise that it's all going to be out in one go like the first part of the project. But I can say that I'm enjoying this. It's good, fulfilling work, and I do intend to keep doing it. So should you watch this and have made it all the way through, thank you, and please leave feedback in the comment section, and just enjoy the ride, and also always have God with you. Life without God is so empty.